if you don't know this about me already, you'll learn it quickly. Is that I love to talk about the cross. I love to talk about what Jesus did for us, because for me that's where the revelation of all of the character and nature of his goodness is displayed so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I've just been, meditating on just elements of the cross, and I get so blown away when I see these parallels from the Old Testament and the New Testament. There's so many. I mean, really everything. I don't exaggerate when I say everything is pointing to Jesus.
Yeah.
That you see in the Old Testament. But I think one of the most profound pictures of Jesus in the Old Testament is the story of Abraham and Isaac. So I'd just love to just read this passage to you in Genesis 22. And starting, I'm sure you know the story, but we'll start off in verse 4. And it says, on the third day of their journey, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Stay here with the donkey, Abraham told the servants. The boy and I will travel a little farther. We will worship there, and then we will come right back. So Abraham, and listen to this, Abraham placed the wood for the burnt offering on Isaac's shoulders, while he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two of them walked on together, Isaac turned to Abraham and said, Father? Yes, my son, Abraham replied. We have the fire and the wood, the boy said, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering? God will provide a sheep for the burnt offering, my son, Abraham answered, and they both walked on together. And we know how the story continues to go. They climb up the mountain, they build the altar, and Isaac lays there on the altar. And right before Abraham slays his son, the angel calls his name and stops him. And then he finds the ram caught in the thicket, and Isaac crawls off that altar. Can you imagine?
Mm.
Can you imagine how they felt in that moment? Get in touch with that.
Mm.
Isaac crawls off that altar, and then instead of him, the ram gets laid there. And Isaac slays the ram instead.
Mm.
And then I was thinking about this in relation to Jesus, and just that, wow, that powerful picture that just as Isaac carried the wood for him being the sacrifice, he carried it on his shoulders. And in the same way, Jesus carried the cross, the wood that he would be the sacrifice on his own shoulders. Incredible, hey? Mm. But then I was thinking too about Jesus in the garden, and in the same way as, can you imagine how Isaac was feeling as he's walking up the mountain? I'm sure he was already thinking, what's happening? He asks his dad, where's the lamb for the sacrifice? I'm sure he was beginning to realize that it could have been him, but Jesus, in the same way in the garden, he's going through this wrestling. He's like, Father, is there any other way? Is there any other way? Just like Isaac is like, Father, where's the sacrifice? Oh, it's me. And then there was another way. There was this ram in the thicket, right? There was a way for Abraham to for Isaac to crawl off the wood. Mm. And Jesus comes into the garden in the same way. And I feel like there's another parallel there where he's like, Father, is there another way? And what's so incredible is in the Hebrew, Isaac uses that same word. It's Ab, but it's the same word translated Abba in the Greek. So Isaac says to his father, basically, Papa, is there another way? And then we see Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's the first time we have Jesus using that word Abba for Father.
Wow.
And he's on his knees and he says, Abba, is there another way? Mm. Is there is there a way out for me? And he pleads with him 3 times, Abba, is there a way out?
Wow.
And it's this incredible, just intimate moment of Jesus and the Father.
Yeah. Wow. That's one thing that I'm hearing for you this morning as well. Whatever tension that you might be encountering in life in this season right now, that in the tension, there is an encounter of intimacy with the Father. In the same way that Jesus was at this moment in his life where he's like, is there something else? Is there a ram in the thicket for me? And when he hears that word from the Father, like, no, like, you are the sacrifice this time, Jesus leans in to intimacy. We see Jesus often go away from the disciples. He sends the disciples out in the water and he goes away, or he goes off alone with the Father. But this is one of the only times that we have in the scriptures of an insight into Jesus and his times with the Father. And we really heard that this morning, even that for a lot of you, this is a season where you recognize some different tensions. While you can still be thriving in it, you recognize, wow, there's some different things pulling, but that this is a season for encounters with the Father. Yes. Just like Jesus leaned in and just comes to him and says, Abba. This is a season for you to encounter Abba like never before.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, the powerful point of Jesus being the sacrifice is that, you know, as the ram was the replacement, you know, for Isaac, so Jesus is a replacement for us. You know, in Isaiah 53, where it says, surely he carried our griefs and our sorrows. He carried them for us on our behalf. He carried our sicknesses and our diseases. And so just as you're, you know, maybe there's some burdens that you're carrying this morning, I just am hearing that he wants you to let him be the burden bearer. He wants you to let him take your place. That he's the sacrifice. That he is the replacement. That he went there on our behalf. And just even right now, do something, some kind of physical motion, or maybe speak it out loud and just say, Jesus, I'm letting you bear my burden. I'm letting you take my place right now.
Wow.
And just receive his grace.
Yeah. Receive
his strength. Receive his love and his compassion over you. Yeah, be encouraged.
Yeah. You know, a number of years ago, the Lord led me into an encounter where I was in the garden with Jesus as he's just pouring out his heart to the Father in that moment. And for me, it was a season where I was recognizing tensions. And I remember thinking, why has God led me here? I didn't quite understand it. But even as the Lord just brought me deeper into that and unpacked what he was revealing to me, he brought me to Philippians 2, where we have this chapter speaking of Jesus as God who came from glory in heaven, and he came to earth as a humble servant. And we have this powerful chapter just talking about, wow, Jesus as the creator, as the most good, most glorious, most loving, coming down and making himself as one of us and coming in as a humble servant. And right in the middle of that, we have this verse that says, I think it's in chapter 2, verse 9, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. And I know that's been used many different ways, but in the context of that chapter, it's Jesus recognizing his glory and his goodness and his ability to his abilities as God, but then also coming in low and coming in with humility in a servant's heart, and walking in that tension. And even today, as you're sitting here, and even as you might be listening to this, and you recognize the tensions in your life, it might be in relationships, it might be something at work or in ministry, it might be a court case that's pending. There's there's lots of things that I know are happening in a lot of your lives right now. It might be the end of one season and the beginning of a new season. But I just encourage you right now, and it's what I really hear God saying, is lean in the same way that Jesus recognized, I will thrive no matter what happens. My forward movement in life causes Red Seas to part. The goodness and glory of God are released from my life. He also chose humility, and he chose to serve us. And in that, he encountered a depth of intimacy with the Father. And he lived that out, and it changed the world. And we have that opportunity, which is amazing. That we have the opportunity to, just like Jesus, to retreat and in that season of tension, go low and encounter the Father and allow that to release his strength in our life in the season that we're in.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So we bless you this week. Hello, Paul. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Craig and Stephanie. Who else is on?
Angela.
Probably that's you, Ange, being the amazing woman you are.
Yes, yeah.
We love you guys, and anyone else who listens later, bless you. May this week just be such an intimate week with your Abba.
Encounters goodness.
Yes, the goodness of a Father that just loves you. He just loves you. He's such a safe place for us to come and just pour our hearts in truth, in honesty before him. Yeah. So we bless you with that this week. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.